When the war started, President Roosevelt exempted Bob from going in the service because he was an entertainer and they needed entertainers. And so he began entertaining in the United States at various bases, mostly Alaska and Green Bay and Labrador and places like that, and in almost every state of the Union.
How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? This is Bob. That wasn't my scotch that fell out of the plane Hope. But I really had a wonderful trip. Wherever I went, the soldiers toasted me, and now I'm back. A guy can stand getting hot foots for just so long, you know.
And then the USO was formed in 1943, and he was the perfect person to head it. And so he did.
Very happy to be here. We've been hearing about this place ever since we arrived. We arrived last Tuesday. They said, wait till you get out to that jungle training center. Yes, sir. Lovely, too. This is a concentration camp with pineapples. Look at this.
He put more miles on than Henry Kissinger did, or Marco Polo.
His whole thing is to be there when you need him. You need him when things are rotten, like in the middle of a war. That was part of his career, was to go wherever he was needed for the guys in uniform.
Finally, he went overseas, to Africa, to England, to Italy, where he entertained and got a taste of what this was going to be like, but he prevailed in it. He was anxious to go. He was happy to go. He thought that, well, I'm not in uniform. I'm not fighting. I'm not before these bombs and these guns. So I've got to do my part. And so I've got to make these fellas who are on the front lines, who do miss home, I bring home to them. I bring the girls. I bring the band. I bring the jokes.
Hi, Clem.
Hi.
Where you going? Fishing? What do you got in the mouth?
Worms.
Well, good luck.
At first, it was just a group of players like Tony Romano, who played the guitar, and Frances Langford, the singer. He called her mother because she gave all the advice and helped with them. But it were a small troupe. And then, of course, the troupe grew greater and greater as time went on. And Bob entertained in the Pacific and in some really hard-to-go-to places. And he lived a dangerous life. He didn't have to do it. He didn't have to expose himself to those dangers. He did it because he wanted to do it.
And it was very sad. There were always, down in front of the stage, there were always beds with guys in the bed. It was real. And then we always went to the hospitals to visit the guys in the hospitals. But anyway, he was always there.
I've talked to soldiers in my book, The Spirit of Bob Hope. You'll find some stories about soldiers who had seen his shows, who attended them in Korea, in the Second World War, in the Vietnam, and beyond.
Nothing to it. My hand just burned off. Who's that, Jerry? And number 3. Are we winning?
His jokes were topical. They made fun of all of the admirals and the captains around him, and the boys appreciated that.
Man, if I had my way, I'd get a big pile of potatoes about as tall as the Empire State Building. Get me a piece of glass, throw it to my sergeant, and say, brother, unpeel 'em. Remove them jackets immediately. If I had my way. Here I am a private in the Army. I enlisted as a private. What the hell is private about it?
He was down to earth. He was a good person. And they could see it in him, and he could see it in them. And they really loved him. Ask any one of them. He was the voice of home. When he went out to these shows and entertained, whether it was on the back of a truck or he was on a microphone talking to some guys up in the air, or he was in a hospital and he'd say things like, "Don't get up for me, fellas, please." He symbolized America. He was America for all of these soldiers and sailors who were lonely for home.
I bet when I started, you thought I was lousy, huh? Just follow me, Billy.
Bob Hope contributed great things to this country. He's a very well-loved comedian. He entertained our troops in all the wars of his life, and he'll always be remembered.
Well, men, it looks like that does it for this session. And speaking for the gang with us tonight, and for all the guys and gals who come down here to Command Performance every week,
I want you to know we consider it a privilege to knock out these programs and try to make life just a little brighter for you. I've talked to lots of you guys in the field, and I gather that the Armed Forces radio shows mean a lot to you. Believe me, they mean a lot to us performers, too. So just keep your requests coming by letter, postcard, V-mail, or put a note in a bottle and drop it overboard. We'll get it somehow and shoot your requests right back. If you haven't got time to write, stick your thumbprint on a friend's letter so we'll know you're all thinking of us, will you? Good night, gang.